Jay, it's Dave from Olympia. I left you two garbled messages. I'm out of traffic. Let me try again. So, responding to the Confederacy episode, particularly the clips that you played at the very end, the individual from the Descendants of Confederate Soldiers group makes this really, really poor argument. And in a nutshell, the argument is his ancestors didn't own slaves. Therefore, his ancestors couldn't have fought to uphold slavery. That logical leap, for all the reasons you pointed out, is a huge leap of logic. It's not proven, but I guess it's possible that his family didn't fight to uphold slavery. So, okay, why not? Your family fought for other reasons. The next leap is that therefore the war was not fought to uphold slavery. Well, that's ridiculous. Even if one soldier fought for other reasons, that has no bearing for why the war was fought. But okay, in theory, the war wasn't fought to uphold slavery. He then fills that lack of knowledge with a certain knowledge that we know, therefore, the war was fought to uphold Southern culture, which is such a nefarious term. Southern culture is white culture, white Southern culture. And it's just the comfortableness with the nuances in the language. We are different in the South. We take things a little bit slower. It's just a culture, like black culture, because blacks aren't part of Southern culture. And then the argument finishes up because the war was fought to defend, quote unquote, Southern culture. The Confederate monuments are therefore art. They're not racist symbols. They're not intimidation. They're art because of this tenuous chain of logic. And therefore, if you want to remove those symbols, you're a barbarian. You're a bad person because of this poorly constructed chain of logic. Now, this was not constructed as an exercise in formal logic because none of the steps, the premises aren't true, the steps don't follow, it doesn't make any sense. The argument was built up in this man's mind to justify his existing beliefs about the Confederate monuments. It's a mental construction. Arguing about why his ancestors decided to fight or not fight or whatever, first of all, he can't know, you can't know their minds. And it's a rabbit hole because it's this weird lack of an argument that ultimately leads to this really damaging conclusion that the symbols of the Confederacy, the glorification of the Confederacy in today's world is a good thing, and you're a bad person for wanting to take down the monuments. That's where the focus of the argument should be. The second clip, it follows almost the same poorly constructed logical pattern. Running it backwards, my family was too poor to afford slaves, which is this ridiculously telling argument again, right? It's almost saying, well, we would have been slaves, but we were too poor. Especially considering this is not a logical argument. This is a constructed justification for where I want to get to. And since I don't actually know why my great-great-grandfather thought because I didn't know him, I'm making up a reason that fits good in my mind. And the reason I chose was not that my grandfather or great-great-grandfather didn't believe in slavery, not that my great-great-grandfather just didn't own slaves. It's that slaves were too expensive. Therefore, when my family fought in the war, they fought to defend their farm. Maybe. I mean, there's lots of reasons for going to war. Again, poor logical construction. When they fought to defend their farm, they fought under this flag, and therefore this flag represents my culture. There's nothing else in the world this flag could possibly represent. The chain of logic is abysmal. It isn't meant to be convincing to anybody but himself, and it's an attempt to justify supporting this clearly racist symbol. It's an internal justification, not meant as an argument to convince anybody but themselves. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate all you do. Stay awesome.